Responsibility for public affairs, the moral simplicities within which it is just possible, with luck, to be able to lead a private life, are soon hideously complicated to an extent that precludes all clear distinctions between right and wrong. This truism, however, has its own exception. In Ali, A. He upheld principle. In public life as in private, regardless of cost. He invariably put the right thing ahead of the smart thing, regardless of cost. The source of the principles that guided his private and public life was Al-Quran al-Majid, as it was also the source of his political philosophy. Ali has many critics and enemies, but they cannot point out a single instance when he deviated from a principle. They cannot point out any conflict between his thought and speech on the one hand, or between his speech and deed on the other. He was consistently consistent in thought, speech, and action. Ali represented the ultimate triumph of character and ideology. He was a rare combination of love of God, devotion to duty, strength tempered with tenderness, symmetry of disposition, and inflexible integrity. His greatest legacy to the world of Islam will remain forever his sublime character. 2. If Aisha repented of her revolt against Amir al-Mu'minin, why did she perform a prostration of thanks when she heard the news of the holy Imam's martyrdom? A. Flat al-Faraj Isfahani, writing about the Imam, in his Makatalut Taliban, says, when Aisha heard the news of the martyrdom of Amir al-Mu'minin Ali, she offered a prostration of thanks. Later, however, she asked the informant who had killed Ali. She was told that it was Abdurrahman ibn Muljim of the Bani Murad clan. Instantly she recited the following couplet: If Ali is away from me, the news of his death was brought by a servant, who may not have dust in his mouth. Zainab, daughter of Umme Salma, was present at that time. She asked Aisha if it was proper for her to express her jubilation and utter such words about Ali. It was a bad thing. Aisha replied that she was not in her senses and that she uttered those words through forgetfulness. She said, if such a thing appears in me again and I repeat those things, you may remind me, so that I may refrain from doing that. These facts clearly show that Aisha did not repent later in life. In view of the misdeeds of this accursed dynasty, the body of the commander of the faithful, Ali, was buried during the night, and no trace of his grave was left. The grave remained virtually unknown until the days of Caliph Harun ar-Rashid. One day Harun went hunting in the locality of Najaf, where deer lived in large numbers. When the hounds chased the deer, they took refuge on the mound of Najaf, small hill which the hounds would not ascend. Several times, when the hounds retreated, the deer would come down, but when the hounds again leapt at them, the deer took refuge on the mound. Understanding that there was a reason for the hounds' behavior, Harun sent his men to inquire in Najaf. They brought an old man to him, and the caliph asked about the secret of why the hounds did not climb up on the mound. The old man replied that he knew the secret, but that he was afraid to disclose it. The caliph guaranteed him safety, and the man told him, once I came here with my father, who went on the mound and offered prayers there. When I asked him what was there, he said that they had come there with Imam Ja'far Sadiq for a visit. The Imam had said that this was the sacred grave of his revered grandfather, the commander of the faithful, Ali, and that it would shortly become known. At the caliph's behest that place was dug up, and the signs of a grave became apparent along with a tablet with an inscription in Syriac, meaning, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. This grave has been prepared by the Prophet Noah for Ali, the vicegerent of Muhammad, 700 years before the deluge. Caliph Harun paid respects to the place and ordered the restoration of the earth. He then performed 2 rakats of prayer. He wept much and laid himself on the grave. Thereafter, on his orders, the whole matter was disclosed to Imam Musa Kadhem, at Medina. The Imam confirmed that the grave of his revered grandfather, commander of the faithful, Ali, was at that place. Harun then decreed that a stone building be erected over commander of the faithful's sacred grave, which came to be known as Hajar Haruni, the stone structure built by Harun. In due course, the news spread, and Muslims visited the holy place. 3. Sometimes, Imam Ali took Matham to the desert. He told him about future matters. The Imam had learnt future matters from our master. Muhammad S. Maitham listened to Imam Ali's words. When the Imam said his prayers, Maitham said them. Behind him, he listened with awe to the Imam's prayers. Maitham was brilliant. He got his knowledge from Imam Ali. One day he said to Abdullah ibn Abbas, the nation's scholar, "Ask me whatever you want about the Quran explanation. I've learnt everything from Imam Ali." So, Ibn Abbas sat before Maitham to learn lessons about the Quran. Explanation 5. Maitham was a wonderful man. With his remarkable ability he gradually secured an honorable position among the companions of Imam Ali. He became aware of the realities and could understand their fine distinctions. He had great love for Imam Ali. He was as fond of him as a thirsty plant is of rain. He took his inspiration from Imam Ali. With him he lived and in him he remained fully absorbed. Imam Ali was the light of his heart and the rejoicing of his soul, and he was not willing to lose this rejoicing even to gain all the wealth of the whole world. One day Imam Ali said to Maitham, "After my death you will be hanged. A spear will be thrust into your body. On the third day your beard will be stained with the blood of your nose and mouth. You will be hanged beside the house of Amr ibn Huraith along with 9 others. The gallows on which you will be hanged will be the shortest. Come along, I'll show you the date palm from the branches of which you will be ultimately hanged." And then he showed Maitham the tree. Years passed and Imam Ali was martyred. The Umayyads gained power over the people. Maitham went out from time to time to look at the tree, offered his prayers and spoke to it. "Thus tree, may Allah bless you. I have been created for you and you are growing for me." In the year of his martyrdom Maitham had the honor of visiting Kaaba, the house of Allah. There, he met Salama, the mother of the faithful. "I've often heard your name from the Holy Prophet S. He recommended you to Ali," she said. Maitham asked about Imam Hussein, and learnt that he had left the city. "Convey my regards to him," he said, "and tell him that it will not be long before he and I see each other in the presence of our Lord." Salama ordered perfume to be brought. She applied it to the beard of Maitham. Then she said to him, "Before long your beard will be painted with your own blood because of your love for the Prophet and his progeny." Maitham then went to Kufa, where Ibn Ziyad's agents arrested him. When he was produced before Ibn Ziyad, the following dialogue took place between them. Ibn Ziyad: "Where is your Allah?" Maitham: "He is lying in wait for the oppressors, and you are one of them." Ibn Ziyad: "What did your master Ali say about me and you?" Maitham: "He said that you will hang me along with 9 others, and my golos will be shorter than those of others." Ibn Ziyad: "I would like to go against what your master said and kill you in some other way." Maitham: "How can you? He learnt that from the Prophet and the Prophet learnt it from Allah. Can you go against Allah? I even know the place of my martyrdom. I also know that I am the first Muslim in whose mouth a bridle bit will be laid." Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad was enraged. He ordered that for the time being Maitham might be taken back to prison. It was in this very prison that Maitham gave Mukhtar Thaqafi the good news of his release and said, "In revenging for the doyen of the martyrs you will kill Ibn Ziyad," and so it was. At last, Maitham was taken to the place where he was to make supreme sacrifice, to the place of his spiritual rise, the place from which he was to soar to the greatest heights of human spirituality. He was hanged beside the house of Amr ibn Huraith from the tree that he already knew. The people gathered round him, and on the gallows, he found a good opportunity to tell them of the virtues of Imam Ali. He spoke and moved the hearts of the people. He made them acquainted with the truth. Ibn Ziyad was informed that Maitham was defaming him, whereupon he ordered him to be gagged so that he might not utter a word further. As Imam Ali had foretold, a spear was thrust into Maitham's body. "Allahu Akbar," he cried. At the end of the 3rd day the blood from his mouth and nose flowed down and colored his beard. May peace of Allah be upon him. 6. Another account of the Maitham at Tamar. It was dawn. As usual, Maitham went to the date palm trunk. He splashed it with water. The good ground sent out a sweet smell. Maitham said 2 rakats. Then he put his back against the date palm trunk. Maitham had visited the date palm for more than 20 years. It had not been a mere dry trunk. It had been a tall date palm before 20 years. Days, months, and years passed. Maitham said 2 rak'ahs near the date palm. Then he addressed it. Allah has created you for me. And He has created me for you. Maitham liked that date palm. He watered it when it was green. One day, he came to the date palm. He found it a dry trunk. He cut the top of the trunk. That tall date palm became a mere short trunk. Still Maitham went on visiting that dry trunk. What was the relationship between him and that date palm? Amru ibn Haraith was a leader from Kufa. Maitham said to him, I'll be your neighbor. Treat me kindly. Amru said, do you want to buy Ibn Mas'ud's house or Ibn al-Hakim's? Maitham kept silent. Amru ibn Harith was puzzled. He wondered, what does Maitham mean? Days and years passed. Unjust rulers succeeded each other over Kufa. They treated its people rudely. Ziyad ibn Abi became a ruler over Kufa. He began killing Imam Ali's companions. He carried out Muawiyah orders. Muawiyah was full of spite. He ordered people to abuse Imam Ali. The ruler appointed a man to look after the market. The man was unjust. The people complained of his bad treatment. The people were afraid of the man. Thus, they went to Maitham. They asked Maitham to go with them to the prince. They said to him, Maitham, come with us to the prince. Maitham went with them. He met the prince and told him about the rude treatment in the market. A policeman in the palace was displeased with Maitham's words. He said to the prince, Your Highness, the prince, do you know this man? The prince said, No, he's a liar, the supporter of a liar. The policeman meant that Maitham was one of Imam Ali's companions. Maitham said, Surely, I'm truthful. I'm the supporter of a truthful man. Really, he's Amir al-Mu'minin, the commander of the faithful. Habib ibn Mudhahir was a good companion. After our master Muhammad's demise, Habib had a close relationship with Imam Ali. One day, Maitham was riding a horse. Habib ibn Mudhahir was riding a horse, too. They met each other before Bani Asad. They had a short talk. Bani Asad